Hey guys, my name's Isaiah and I'm here with Aiden, and today we're reacting to the K.
You are now reacting to the boy group A.C.E. and their 2024 release PINATA.
Pinata.
No, there's no N yet. PINATA.
PINATA.
Pinata?
Pinata.
Oh, there's no N yet, you're right.
The lyrics reflect a confident, rebellious attitude, with the group asserting their dominance and fearlessness as they confront challenges and break boundaries.
Alpha.
Yep.
They're alpha. Ace as in alpha.
Hey.
Actually, I think if you call someone an ace, I think that would be pretty cool. That's better than alpha.
Yeah.
If someone calls you an ace as a man, it's like, that's good. Ace. Number 1.
I believe it also is a acronym.
What's the acronym?
Adventure Calling Emotions.
Cool. You know what? And honestly, real alphas need to be in tune with their emotions.
They really do.
So true.
Ace,
So true.
They express a sense of unity and strength, vowing to never back down while navigating through chaos and danger. Throughout, there is a celebration of resilience and the thrill of rising above obstacles with bold, decisive actions.
Yes.
The song is composed by Rhythmic from Stupid Squad, My Nine, Charlotte Wilson, Roydo, Jacob Aaron, and Chang Dae-hyun.
Woo.
Play.
Shall we?
Let's do
All right,
it.
Pinata.
Sure, PINATA. Sorry, the cough got me. He's like, just getting ready.
Oh, it's like,
I do love a good suit moment.
yeah, we love a good suit. It's like the Concert Black
Yes.
phenomenon.
That is not what I expected
It's really
over
laid
that
back.
beat.
I like the dialogue between like the production and their voices. Like it's kind of like a back and forth at the beginning.
This kind of is what I expected from it, like from the get-go.
Yeah, just like the domination. Ooh, cool harmonies. Dominant. Oh! What? It's like so laid back. It's so laid back.
So this is supposed to be the complicated thing that you're like getting us into?
I love the sparkly bloodstained.
Yeah, the glove things are Bop, 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 bop. It's like a playing
da da
Patricia.
da 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 da.
There's kind of a key over them.
Yeah, that definitely is.
I think it's just a weird syncopation where it's sort of laid back a little bit.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
I like this, like the arrangement of the
Super
the people
cool,
in
yeah.
there.
Is this supposed to be a vampire concept?
They got the Yale percussion fits on.
Whoa.
Is that triplets? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dance is
Crazy, by the way. But I feel like it has to be with how this sounds.
That's a really good choice, especially with the choreo, like the sort of slowing it down before ba 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 ba.
They're kind of slurring it in a way
Yeah,
that
they
makes it
are
sound like
slurring
5/1.
the beginning triplet. But I think it is close to a
Yeah, it's
triplet
closer
and then
to
two
triplets.
eighth notes.
Yeah.
Nice vocal harmonies.
Ooh, I like his voice.
Oh, wow.
Oh, some snaps in the back.
So he went from straight 16th notes directly into a swing, like out of nowhere. Oh,
It's the
nice,
superhuman
dude.
chord. Yeah! I think it's like the same freaking chord. It's like in the same key.
This is rhythmically so
This
crazy.
is almost a halftime section. There is no
Yeah,
backbeat
yeah.
though, surprisingly. I think the vocals kind of take that backbeat like feeling because they come in on beat 3, but there is no like snare or any like definitive like sound to like make you feel like it's a backbeat. It's kind of ambiguous.
Oh, that's cool.
Dope ending.
Oh, that was really
really
short. Oh my
surprising.
gosh.
Yeah. Did not expect it to end right there, but I don't mind it. It works. That was cool.
Nice.
That was
Slay.
crazy.
Slay. Good, interesting. Not bad, interesting.
That was banging.
Sorry, it's looking not that complicated.
But it's just that it has
the typical
triplets.
grid. It goes against the grid where you're expecting a certain grid, like triplets, duple.
Yeah.
But it goes against that sort of typical thing that you hear.
So, a lot of times with rhythm, it's either black or white, right? Like that's how people kind of see rhythm. It's either going to be eighth notes or it's going to be triplets or that kind of thing. They do a lot of times in this where it feels like the time is almost kind of melty. Like it can be kind of between, like a lot of things. Like we said the thing with the triplets and the eighth notes where it almost seems like they're feeling it in groups of 5. So instead of feeling it as da 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 like perfect, they're not quite at da 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 da. They're not quite there. They're like at almost like an in between where they're sitting. I would just call it slurred. They're calling it a slurred triplet into an eighth note, and they have a lot of times in there where like it'll go into triplets or into swing in a way that's kind of melty. I don't know a better way to describe it than that. It's like, yeah, the rhythm is very melty in this. But then it makes the times where you get like a ticka 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 out of nowhere, like a really common pulse, really satisfying. And I think that's cool.
Can we listen to it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the boys. We're back, baby.
Baby.
So that's tempo.
It's once the snare comes in that it like makes a lot of sense. But before then, that's what we were talking about with the Akiho rhythms. I'll send you pillars.
I feel like the beginning is almost like a displaced rhythm.
Yeah.
Like you have bum bum ba-dum bum right over like this time signature with 4/4, but in this certain tempo. But it doesn't line up on the downbeat every single time. It's like bum bum ba-dum bum. Bum bum ba-dum bum. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like displaced every time, so that kind of throws it off, and then the groove actually comes in. So if you feel the tempo like right at the beginning and you play it with tempo, it's not going to line up on the clicks, but as soon as the groove comes in, it lines up. So that can also attribute to that uneasy feeling.
Gotcha.
They're playing with space in a really weird way too, which is pretty cool.
That Akiho feeling, I definitely get that though. Akiho is this composer, and he uses that rhythm a lot. To like 1 E.
It's like a 30-second note,
But yeah,
and
people
then with a lot of space
yeah.
after it into a quarter note. It's really satisfying kind of rhythm, but I feel like also we're more predisposed to this kind of rhythmic language like than most people.
And then it goes into the bass drum.
This is much less surprising the second time around, but for some reason,
No, because
this the
like,
first time I was like,
the first time, of course, you don't expect it because it's like what?
it's interesting to go like right into the big 2,
Yeah.
right off the bat.
But I think that was sort of implied by the intro. Like
Yeah.
that didn't surprise me.
I guess I was probably thinking that it was going to go from the more into intro to a faster.
Whoa, yeah, what meter are we in? Oh my god.
I had
what?
something at the beginning. Let me hear this again. I think it's also another displaced rhythm. Like it's smaller than the actual measure, so that way it goes over the bar.
Yeah, it's like a polymeter almost.
Here, let's right here.
I'm gonna try it in 4.
Oh, I think it's actually augmentation. Let me hear this again. I'm talking purely about the rhythm, not the.
I'm gonna accent where I think the beats, where they're accenting. Boom, there you go.
Yeah, it feels almost like augmentation to me.
Yeah.
Like it starts off bum ba dum, right? So it's 1/8 note or 1 quarter note, and then I think it's 1 E, right? And then it does 2 quarter notes, and then the motif again. So if we label the first like 2 beats as a motif, bum ba bum, right? That's the motif, bum ba. Then it goes bum 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 ba bum, and then it goes bum 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 bum. Bum, bum.
It's like
so it's like
getting-
each time it's just getting larger and larger, and it's going over the bar line, so it makes it feel a little awkward at first. But
Kinda interesting. That's like a vinyao idea, like using rhythm to create like tension by like getting slower or faster. That's like a very vinyao,
another
very
percussion
new age
composer.
very new age percussion kind of idea.
So you talked about the melting of how they're like slurring the triplets, but I'm curious, is the instrumental in the back doing the exact same thing?
I think it's pretty straight.
Or is it straight, which is why it sounds so chaotic?
I think so, yeah. It's a bit Dilla.
Yeah, no. So the part right before this, where they had that augmentation, it's all straight. Like you have the drums and bass doing this, just chord notes, right? But then there's like a synth that's doing like 16th notes just off in space somewhere. Like it's just really low, but you can hear it going like like something like that. And then when it gets here, it feels almost like Dilla. It's super syncopated in a way, but it's all like perfectly in time, if that makes sense. So everything else sort of juxtaposing that gives it that like weird, like melting, like interconnected weaving.
Which in my opinion, that's how you do slurred rhythms right. Is like if you have a rhythmic bass and then the melody is slurring, then it's like super cool because it feels like there's almost like this disconnect in like a really cool, interesting rhythmic way.
I think that's the easiest way to it's just like anticipated too much. Because it's like syncopation that's outside of the typical grid that you would think about syncopation.
Yeah.
So it's like one level above syncopation. So if you have like just like square straight rhythm, you have syncopation, and then you have like weird stuff where it's like on like
But I think what's interesting about it is like, so that part that was surprising to me at the beginning where it has the feeling of into, like the rest of the song after that does have a distinct like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
They hit the 4.
But then they're back in the 2, but it seems like the stuff underneath, at least to my ears, sounds like it has like a duple. So like bum 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 ba. But over the top they're like ba 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 ba. But then
is that 5? Ba 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 ba. That's 5.
I count. Yeah.
That's 5.
So it's a little.
You mean the upper vocals or the
upper vocals?
Yeah.
They're kind of in this compound subdivision.
Because I wasn't sure if they were doing a strict 5 or like when we play Petrushka 5.
1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2,
5.
1, 2. That's exactly what they
1, 2,
don't.
3, 1, 2.
It's
Yeah.
like it's literally when we play Petrushka, and that's like the big thing. Where it's like about being even versus not even.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the 2, 3, and you can do. And then you can do fully even. So that's why I was like, it sounds like a 5 grouping.
Yeah.
But it is within the 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1,
1, 2, 3,
1,
1,
2,
2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. But I think it's not exactly that.
Yeah.
So it's like you could almost hear it as like a very badly sung 5 against 2.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think they are intentionally doing 3 against 3, 2 grouping, but it's a bit melded, so it's slightly edging towards even, but it's not completely an even 5, which is kind of cool. And so on top of that, you got that concentration of you got 1, 2 ba 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 at the end, so you have the concentration of this sort of like busyness towards the end of a bar, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
There might have been in the second verse another moment of like a vocal melody not being the most typical or predictable.
Yeah, it's like the over the
1 and the 2. Wait.
So
1.
It's the Great Gatsby
3.
thing.
Because it's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
Well, because basically it's the same rhythmic cell
1, 2, 3,
repeated,
1, 2, 3,
but
1, 2.
yeah. So it's a 3 cell over a duple.
So it doesn't actually change anything, but it does just kind of.
It just
offset.
changes the emphasis.
Yeah. The emphasis.
Emphasis on the emphasis. Yes. I love that superhuman chord in the bridge. I was like, yes, superhuman. It's just like the layered sus chord, and so it's just so big in scale that it just whacks you in the face, and you're just like, whoa, that's crazy. It's just like badass.
The ace of the song, perhaps.
Yeah. You could say that. You could say that.
Leading up to this reaction, it seemed like a lot of audiences received this song and just immediately hated on it.
Really?
Can you understand, maybe is it because of this melty rhythm, the reason why so many people are saying this sounds like a mess, like a loud mess?
Yeah, maybe my take on that would be, it's kind of not, it doesn't fit like the standard in a way.
Yeah.
Like so when I brought up the backbeat, I feel like that's kind of like a standard, like, you know, have this snare drum, but, you know, the drum set is doing something a little weirder and sort of giving that role of the backbeat to the vocal line, which can make it feel like a mess to somebody who's not listening, because, you know, everyone's used to hearing the bass, like the snare on 2 and 4 to sort of define the groove, but because that's not always there, I can totally see how someone who's not used to that could be like, oh, this is weird, I don't like this, it sounds like a mess, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that sort of disjunction there creates that sort of messy feeling, but also the same thing with the slurring of the rhythms and not being exactly in time can also give that feeling of like uneasiness that people might have gotten from listening to this. So
I think also it's kind of, this is kind of overused, like what does that even mean kind of term, but I think it is a little bit overproduced. So in a way that like there's like a lot happening, and outside of the instrumentation, outside the vocals, there's a lot happening, and I can see how that would get like old pretty fast. But it's only 3.5 minutes.
it felt short. It felt
really
short to
dug
me.
it. Yeah, I really dug it. If it was like this for like 5 minutes, maybe I'd be like, come on guys, what are we doing?
I get a lot of enjoyment out of music when there's things that I can discover on a second and third listen. So I can listen to it passively and be like, cool, like this is vibes. Like nothing's like bothering me, but then like maybe someday in like a month or so I'll listen to it and I'll be like, wow, there's like this random like middle layer in here that I never heard, or random rhythm in there that I never heard before. That's cool.
It threw me off the first time around, but it makes more sense to my ear, like not like after figuring it out or anything like that, but I think I'm kind of more acclimated to it. But I'd be really interested to know someone that like isn't necessarily a classical musician, if this would just bother them until the end of time, like because I feel like also like we're pretty used to hearing like these weird rhythms, so they make some sort of like sense just because although they are wacky, they're pretty common, all things considered,
Yeah.
like
In
in the stuff that we
classical,
play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a cool. I like to think of it more of like as a difference in expectations, where it's like if you are interested in that sort of like weird sound, then this is a song for you. But if that sort of thing doesn't vibe with, there are other ways to mess with rhythm that kind of scratch itches for different people, and this is like very like playing with time and multiple different layers of the song. While like other songs, maybe they'll have one particular moment that is emphasized that is weird and different, but then the rest of it's like chilling and fine. So yeah.
Right. Do you guys have any advice for, let's say, my ears who hear this chorus and think, I have no idea what's going on, it's so overwhelming?
I think I have 2 things. First thing, like generally for me, whenever something like that is going on, I always think of the drums. Because usually in a setting like this, the drums will be laying it down and letting everyone else do the weird thing. Or maybe the bass, right? But if everything's doing a weird thing, for me, I think of everything like sort of from an outside perspective and think of it like just rhythms, just hear rhythms, and sort of see how I can group those rhythms in a way that is easy for me to digest. And normally for me, it's like, if it's K-pop or something pop like this, usually it's gonna be 4/4 or something that's like metric like that. If not, I mean, sometimes it'll be like a weird meter, but then if it's a weird meter, it's sort of easier to group in a way because you can hear when that weirdness sort of restarts. But for me, it's sort of thinking just rhythm, like outside the box, stop listening to like melodic stuff, because usually that's sort of what throws me off. And just think of the rhythm. It's like, okay, this feels like it would fit in here, or I can feel the larger phrasing, the larger groups, the beats that are being emphasized sort of more if I think of it just as a rhythm, if that makes sense.
Maybe to build off of that, then once you have a good standard of what maybe the rhythmic backbone is, then build off of that and see how the melody is interplaying with that and how the melody may be disagreeing with that. And think about what feeling that gives you, because the feeling that they're going to give you is not always, it's really nice. It sounds good. It's sometimes going to be, they want you to feel uncomfortable. So they're going to give you a weird rhythm to make you feel a little uncomfortable. I think that's cool.